Hi there, YouTube. My name's Connor. If you're new to my channel, I am currently going to Missouri S&T for aerospace engineering. I'm a sophomore right now, and I just wanted to make this quick little video um, as sort of a guide for newer college students that maybe are going soon or are currently attending the college of their choice. So, as I said, I'm a sophomore aerospace major and I just wanted to give a bit of insight into the kinds of classes I have taken already and what I'm taking right now and what I'm going to be taking in the future. I'm hoping to make some follow-up videos, maybe in the future, just kind of outlining what I'm going to be doing, kind of just talking about what I previously just mentioned. So to start off, I want to go over my first semester schedule. I took 15 credit hours. I feel like that's a good base credit hour amount to start off your college journey as a freshman. So I took general chemistry lab, calculus 2, freshman engineering, macroeconomics, a general chemistry safety training, which was online. And then I'm also part of the university orchestra, and you can that's considered a class here if you want to sign up for it. It's only 1 credit hour, but if you take three, then they don't have to be consecutive. But if you take three total semesters of university orchestra here at Missouri S&T, it will eliminate the necessity to take one of your general electives. So that's very useful. Now, for me, my hardest class this semester was general chemistry. It was my besides for Calc 2, it was my only, or it was my highest credit hour class I took that semester. And it was also the only class I got a B in. I got an A in everything else. Now, to be fair, chemistry, at least general chemistry at Missouri S&T, I, with my sleep schedule, first of all, I did not have a sleep schedule my first semester in college, for really my first year, just because, it was really my first time living on my own. I was in a dorm here at Missouri S&T. I was in what's called Thomas Jefferson Hall. It's really the base dorm hall you get put in. Um, it's also the cheapest and lowest quality, but honestly, a lot of people here complain about Thomas Jefferson Hall. I did not find it to be bad at all. I had very few minor complaints, and yeah, to me it was just kind of like your standard hotel. The food was good to an extent, and other students here on campus will agree with me on that. Um, but yeah, I didn't find it too bad. I'm currently in an apartment right now with a couple other of my friends, and also I have some other friends of mine literally right next door. Yeah, what was we got the we all went through the housing exemption route instead of dorming again. So normally on at Missouri S&T, you have to stay in a dorm for 2 years, I believe it is, and then you can move out as a junior if you so please. However, you can meet it's called a housing exemption. I'm not sure how this might change from college to college, but here at S&T, I believe it's if you're active on campus, you have 15 credit hours for your first 2 semesters, and you get at least a 3.5 semesterly GPA for your first 2 semesters. You can move off campus after your first year. And my friends and I all got that that are currently living here and next door. And so it's been great. It's been a really great experience. I feel like we've all bonded closer over it. and it's also just way easier. It saves us money. It's a great thing to do. I recommend all Missouri S&T students and really any students of any college, if college offers such a thing, to do just that, because I guarantee you it'll save you money if you play your cards right. But anyway, got a little off track there. Back to the schedule. So, as I said, chemistry was my by far my hardest class for my first semester. Yeah, just my sleep schedule did not mix well with it because I had it at 9 a.m. Now I had a Zoom lecture, which, I should, it's a Zoom lecture. I should be able to get up just fine and follow the lecture. But, I had a terrible sleep schedule, still trying to work on it to this day. Um, and plus, my labs were at 8 a.m., they were 3 hours, they were brutal. Um, so, yeah, it was rough. And also the content just I just couldn't really follow it. And the teacher, I'm not I'm not going to speak on him. I'm going to refrain. Uh, but anyway, I'm not trying to scare anybody. I'm just saying if you're coming to Missouri S&T at the least, I can't speak for other colleges, but if you're coming to S&T and you have to take chemistry and you didn't take it in high school, be prepared, focus, be better than me, and really just put your nose to the grindstone and do all the work, and you will do just fine. And study for tests. That was a big thing. Um, lab wasn't hard, honestly. They were exhausting because they were almost 3 hours, 8 a.m. to 10:50 a.m. And they were long. They were, as I said, exhausting, but they're not too bad. It involves doing stitch together chemistry labs with group mates or lab mates, if you will. And you basically do the lab and you just write lab reports. Now, lab reports can span decently long, but if you have, 3 or 4 people in your group, you'll get through it pretty easily. Um, Calculus 2. Now, I took AP Calculus or um, Calculus AB, I believe it was, in high school. Now, I didn't do an early college program or anything. It was just offered at my school. I took it my senior year. I got a B in that because, I've heard a lot of people like, I believe, don't quote me on this, but I believe it was Neil deGrasse Tyson was like, the jump from pre-calculus to calculus 1 is way bigger than the jump from algebra 2 to pre-calculus. And I fully agree. That is why I got a B in that class. It was the concepts, the new concepts that were being taught were just so abstract to me at the time, and it took me a really long time to get it. But here at S&T, my freshman year, I got an A in Calc 2 my first semester. I started getting calculus in itself more, and that's what allowed me to get an A. It's really calculus 2 goes over integration techniques and series. That is the main thing, and some application problems like pumping problems. But it's really it's not too bad if you really try to understand the material. Now I know you can say that about really any class, but calculus 2 is going to be one of your freshman weed out classes. That is unless you're taking it as a sophomore, but you get what I mean. Freshman engineering. Now I'm pretty sure I don't believe you can get an exemption for this class. It's basically a very simple like ethics course that all engineering majors have to take at S&T, and it also just goes over a bunch of different types of engineering majors at S&T, and just in general, and just it just kind of gives you a better idea of all the different kinds of routes you can go in engineering. Excuse me. So it's pretty useful, if especially if you're coming to college not knowing what you want to do exactly, you know, if you want to be an engineer but you just don't know what it is you like, freshman engineering will help you out. I'm hoping it helped me out a little bit. Plus, it got me in tune with um, couple new people, so that was cool. Macroeconomics. Now, I had kind of a love-hate relationship with macroeconomics, and a lot of people will agree with me on this. Macroeconomics, at least at S&T, it was easy to a point. However, my friend and I both agree that, for example, any prompt in macroeconomics, especially as opposed to microeconomics, whatever you think the answer to that prompt is, it's most likely the opposite of what you think, at least in our case. So I don't know what that says about us, but yeah, yeah, it was okay. I got an A in that as well. Um, General chemistry safety training is very simple. It was basically just chem lab safety, very simple. You can do it. And it was online, and it was only for the first 2 weeks. It wasn't even a semester course. And then orchestra, I took, I've been playing, so I play the violin. I've been playing violin for nearly 12 years now. My next semester will make it 12 years. And let me just say, the jump from high school orchestra to university orchestra is huge. So I want you to think about that if you're planning on joining the S&T orchestra, really any university orchestra. It's a big jump, and you to have to have to practice. Just saying. Um, yeah, you have to practice. S&T has what's called O Week, which stands for Opening Week. This was the so this was a week for freshman students. It started exactly a week before classes started, so we all had to move in to our dorms a week early, and um, basically involved all the new freshmen getting together in assigned groups based on their major and yeah, I believe it's just their major. And basically, you would be paired with a bunch of new freshmen and also what are called mentors, which are upper level students, like even just sophomores, that would guide you throughout the week, guide all of you throughout the week to um, work together to make a project. Now, for our project, it was making a themed RC car. Now, we were given the RC car base with the motor and such. We just had to design, creatively design the theme of it. I believe we went with like a pirate ship, sort of like Pirates of the Caribbean, and it was really cool. It was an amazing experience. And all of my friends that I'm currently moved in with right now, I met almost all of them through O Week. Two of them are, with the exception of them being high school acquaintances, but I had one of them in my O Week group, and now we're actually friends. So we would have probably never been friends had we not been in each other's O Week group. Um, and that was an amazing experience. We ended up the at the award ceremony at the end of the week. We ended up actually winning for like most creative, along the lines of most creative theme or something. And each group that won a specific award would do like a short, um, like winning chant. And so what we did, I don't know if you guys know the song. It's "Hoist the Colors." It's I don't know the original song, but there's a bass version by a YouTuber named Bobby Bass, and we all in sync sung the bass version of it, and it was really cool. I suggest you go listen to it on YouTube. I like it. But yeah, it was a really good experience. I met a lot of great people. I have all my friends now that I moved in with because I participated in a week. You don't have to, it's not mandatory, but I really recommend you do. Anyway, just thought I should throw that out there. So, for my second semester, which was last semester, I took Physics 1, which now I took AP Physics my senior year of high school. However, it was algebra based, and not calculus based, which is what Physics 1 is based on here, and it needs to be calculus based. So, unfortunately, my my credit for taking AP Physics in high school did not transfer. It was kind of depressing because by the time I had figured that out, I had already spent the $100 to take the AP test, which I didn't do well on anyway. I got a 1. I know, nothing to brag about. To be fair, I didn't study or anything. So, what should I have expected? But yeah, depressing nonetheless. But anyway, got an A in that. It was fine. I did end up having to take the final, which actually was really easy for me once I got the material. I got a 6 out of 5 on the in course and like a 16 out of 22 on the final itself. So I ended up getting an A in that class. I also took Calculus 3. I got an A in that too. I took the final because my last test score was not great. So there's 4 exams in Calculus 3 plus the final. My first 2 exams I did really well on. I think I got like a 93 and then a 99. And then third test wasn't terrible. I got an 83, but my last test I did not do well. I really dropped the ball on it. I got like a 73, and I needed like a 78 to get an A and not have to take the final. It was really depressing. But I took the final, got an A. So yeah, that was nice. I also took I'm trying to remember the exact name was it of it. It was Mechanical Engineering Intro to something. I'm not sure. It was like Intro to Ethics or something, but it's a base engineering class, kind of like freshman engineering I mentioned, a little different though. Um, you had to pair together with a group of other students, and you guys had to create a project to accomplish a task that was assigned by the organizers of the class. Um, and for our semester, we had to create something to go up a track that was made out of like really smooth wood. So my group's original idea was a like a car to just inch up there because there were 2 hills. Sorry, it was like yeah, um, and that didn't work. It failed horribly. And then my friend recommended an idea of a slingshot. Now that was actually in the criterion that fit the criterion for the project. So we created a slingshot and shot a ball up there, and as long as you hit the top, you're good. And we did it, and I got an A in the class. It was great. Next was MATLAB programming. Now, I have never been good with coding, so I really had to lock in for this class and learn how to code and program. So, yeah, this class was split up into just the lecture and the lab where you applied what you learned in different prompts. Nothing too special, but got an A in that as well. And then I took orchestra again, which, as you know, got to lock in for that too. I also took 15 credit hours for this semester. So among those 2 semesters, just barely met the housing requirement that I mentioned earlier. Now, right now, I'm in my third semester as a sophomore. I'm currently taking differential equations. Um, so far, it's not bad. I got a 96.5 on my first exam. and it wasn't bad at all. Supposedly, and so far I agree with this, differential equations is easier than all three calculus classes. So I'm not very worried, but who knows? I might be eating my words later. Um, I am also in physics 2. Um, so far it's okay. I didn't do great on the first test. I got a 68, which don't freak out. Um, but yeah, I didn't really get the material. Right now we're doing capacitors and circuits, which my friend who took it last semester says this test on this material is supposed to be a lot easier. So I'm hoping I can raise my test average more by getting a higher score on this test. I'm also taking statics, which is a civil engineering class. It's like your base core civil, or not even core, your base civil engineering class, but all engineering students have to take it. Maybe for the exception of like computer engineering, but don't quote me on that. So far, not bad. I got an 85 on the first test, but with a 7 point curve, it went up to a 92. Yeah, statics is notorious for um, high amount curves. So obviously, don't count on that. Study and do your best. But yeah, even if you don't do well in the tests, you're bound to do better just because of the curves. I'm also in orchestra again. I'm planning to do, I would really like to do orchestra all three, all 8 semesters of my college career. But who knows that it might interfere with some of my other classes and such and such. But I'm really hoping I can because I really do genuinely enjoy orchestra and the arts and playing music. So I want to do that. I'm also taking Political Science 1200, also known as American Government. I took regular government in high school, and it's not too different. I mean, on the first exam, I got an 84, which isn't too bad. I think you only need like maybe 86 average for an A in the class, which I think I'll be able to get. I'm not too worried. But yeah, so far it's just government class. And lastly, I'm taking what's called AVP. It stands for Aerospace Vehicle Performance. Now, this is your first core aerospace major class. It involves simple aerodynamics and some static liquid problems. Yeah, stuff like that. And I actually had my first exam technically yesterday because it is 3:51 a.m. So yesterday, Friday, from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. It was a 2-hour test. It had 10 questions. And honestly, I'm quite nervous because I don't feel amazing about it. I think I maybe got high 70s, low 80s, which is kind of unfortunate because you need like a 90 average to get an A in the class. And there are only 3 exams. And actually, there are only 100 points total in the class. So, for example, if you lose 1 point on a homework, which each homework is only 2 points, that is 1% of your grade off the entire class. And you can only get 99 at the highest, assuming you get 100 on everything else. Not to scare you, but this is probably, I'd say, the first class you really have to lock in for. For this test, I didn't do as well as I had hoped. Then again, I only took it technically yesterday. Um, so I can't really say how well I did yet, but hoping for the best. Anyway, so I'm taking 17 credit hours this semester, and so far it's not terrible, but it is definitely my hardest semester by far out of the 3 I've taken. And let me talk about design teams. So for my first year, semester one and semester two, I was part of two design teams. I was part of the um, satellite research team, or called MSAT for short. And I was also part of the rocket design team. I'm still on that. I stopped being a part of the um, satellite research team in December of 2024. So actually, I didn't even stay on it for my full first full year. I only stayed up for my first semester, simply because I just lost interest. And yeah, pretty quickly, I did do um, some work for the team, uh, but yeah, I just lost interest kind of quickly. I'd still recommend it, checking it out. It's an interesting team. I was on the propulsion sub team for the satellite. I don't know if they do this every year, but at least when I was there, my first semester, which was fall of 2024, um, the propulsion, um, the head of the propulsion sub team told me that once the satellite was, now it's a very small satellite, once the satellite was completed, it'd actually be going on the SpaceX rocket that'd be launching in the summer of 2025. Now, I actually don't know, I don't have confirmation that it actually did or how the launch went. However, I'm hoping I was able to help at least a little bit in that launch and the creation of the satellite in itself. But yeah, I've actually been on the rocket design team since semester one, and I still am. Um, my first year, I'll be honest, I didn't do much. I tried to help out where I could, but it I couldn't really find out where I fit just because I didn't know as much as everybody else. I'm not good with CAD. I'm not great with coding. Like I said, I have some MATLAB experience now, but I'm not extremely confident in it. Right now, this semester, I'm really trying to get more involved in the design team, the rocket design team, that is. Um, so, well, today, in about 8 hours, I'm going to what we call a work day at the Estelk. It's a building on campus where all the most, if not all, the design teams do their work. You know, there's the Steel Bridge design team, there's the rocket design team, there's the Mars rover team, there's the satellite team, as I mentioned. There are a buttload of teams for you to join and, or at least research and get an idea of what they're like. I really recommend it. There's also a metric ton of clubs to join. Now, I'm not part of any clubs, but like my friend, he's a part of the powerlifting club. There's a boxing club. There's an LGBTQ club. There's an archery club. There's a spelunking club. There is a club for whatever you think there's might be a club for, you name it, and it'll probably be already at S&T. If not, come to S&T and start it. You know, their S&T is always open to opening new clubs. But anyway, yeah, I'm trying to do more for the design team this semester and hopefully moving forward. I've already designed. I've made a new P&ID, which I forget what it actually stands for, but it's basically a diagram for one of the testing pieces of testing equipment we're using for the rocket's injector. I know, sounds fancy, but it's not that crazy. Um, but yeah, I'm actually going to be going to the SDELC, as I said, in you know 8 hours or so, and I'm going to be trying to help out construct that piece of testing equipment and get it ready for our presentation soon after. Now, I'm not going to go through all 8 of my semesters because they're subject to change. But at least right now, I'll go over what I think I want to take for my next semester. What I think I'm going to take for my next semester is a total of 17 credit hours. It involves Intro to Aerospace Design, Thermodynamics, dynamics, mechanics of materials, intro to spacecraft design, as well as linear algebra and orchestra. Now that's 7 classes. It's a rough course load, and I already know that's going to be my hardest semester yet. I'm probably going to be saying that after each consecutive semester, but yeah, looking forward to that. Um, but I don't have to worry about that for now. I just have to worry about studying hard, sleeping hard, and yeah, just putting my nose to the grindstone and really trying to do well this semester. Now, I don't have to worry too much about that. My first 2 semesters, as I said, to meet the housing exemption, I had to meet some very specific criterion, and so I had to do really well in my classes. Thankfully, I did. Now, the pressure is not completely off because I still do need to do well in college, obviously, but it's not there as much. Um, yeah. Now, I'm hopefully going to be posting some more videos in the future, just kind of outlining my progress throughout the semester and going forward in my overall college career. Um, I will definitely try to do that because really I want to post these kinds of videos for newer college students, especially, or students in, say, high school who want to go to college and don't really have an idea of what it's like. I want to create these kinds of videos to help them because, yeah, there are plenty of videos on the internet that kind of explain what college is like, but I feel like none of them really get what's the word I'm looking for? None of them really get real. They don't really give you that interpersonal relationship feeling, from a person to a person. I'm trying to speak to you from a college student who's been in the experience for almost a year and a half now, and I kind of sort of know the ropes so far. And I just want to, as I said, try and give you a better idea of what it's like. And obviously, in the comment section, you can leave me any questions. I'll try to answer them to the best of my ability. And really, anyone in general, you don't even have to be a student or a high school student or a current college student or anything. You can just ask me any questions. I'll try my best to answer them, or I'll recommend you to a site or a source that can answer it for you. And yeah, I think I'm going to end the video here. I think I've covered everything I want to cover for now. But yeah, as I said, just post any questions you have for me in the comments. And yeah, I appreciate you watching. Y'all have a great day. Thanks.